and we're going to unify our country. And our phrase, you all know it, half of you are wearing the hat, make America great again. But we're going to make America great for all of our people, everybody throughout our country. That includes the inner cities, that includes everybody.
Donald Trump at the Lincoln Memorial earlier today, President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Mike Pence laid the ceremonial wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. And it's one of the key promises that Donald Trump has made is not only to rebuild the military, but the esprit de corps within the military. And I want to bring in Lea Gabrielle because, you know, the Military Times had did a survey, Leah, and 29% of the military had a really very unfavorable view of President Obama's commander-in-chief. There was not a lot of excitement about his leadership, and it's easy to say. I mean, the esprit de corps is near rock bottom right now, isn't it?
Well, let's start with that wreath laying. I just want to mention this because for those of us who've served in combat for the past 15 years, when we hear taps, when we see Arlington National Cemetery, it means something different to us. It takes us back to the moment that we stood there on those grounds and we watched a friend of ours buried, my friend Nathan White, buried there. And so I think it means so much to see, as the first event in the inauguration, the new commander-in-chief standing there, taking really the full responsibility of being commander-in-chief, knowing that as the most powerful man in the world, the leader of the free world, he'll be making the choice to send troops into combat, some of whom will come back and be buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Now, to go on to the morale of the troops right now, I think part of that were the policies. But I think part of the morale within the troops, the problem was sequestration. That goes back to the Budget Control Act of 2011, and it was a congressional decision where basically the military spending was capped, budgets were cut, and military leaders have been saying for years that the greatest threat to our military readiness is sequestration because it affects their planning, it affects the way they can spend money and how much they can spend. Donald Trump has said that he plans to lift that sequestration, but I interviewed President Obama one-on-one in the White House about this a little over 4 years ago, and he told me the problem was Congress. So now the challenge for Donald Trump will be to go to Congress, to get Congress together, the Republican-controlled Congress, to lift those spending caps and let the military do what it needs to do so that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marine can do their jobs and come back safely.
But beyond that, Barack Obama, who won the Nobel Peace Prize like a week into office, was, to my knowledge, the only president who spent every single day of 2 terms at war, dropping maybe 80 bombs a day on various countries.
Right.
The American public has certainly become wary of this, and I would assume the military, particularly when it feels like the mandate has never been to win these wars.
You know, I think he tried something different. And so you can fault him for trying something different, but you can also look at the fact that he wanted to try to get countries to take ownership in the countries around them. The Middle East, he wanted to get the countries that are our allies in the Middle East taking more ownership. And that was really what his policy was about, teaching them how to change a tire so that they're the ones who do it when their car goes flat in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, it really hasn't worked. And so now we're bringing in people like General James Mattis, who is very well respected, who I think will be a very good mind to be leading our military going into the future. And Donald Trump takes a different approach. So hopefully that will work, and hopefully it will increase morale in the military.
Well,
both
Donald
by
Trump overwhelmingly won the military vote in the election back on November 8th.